This is Robert Clotworthy, the narrator of The Curse of Oak Island, and I have a question for you. Could it be that you are listening to The Curse of Oak Island and Beyond live stream?
This is a top pocket find, mate, for sure.
Yes, it could be that you're listening to The Curse of Oak Island and Beyond live stream. Hello, everyone. Jeff Freeman here, your host. And we have Dale Kearney and Tom Burns here tonight. Welcome, guys.
Hey, everybody.
Hello. Oh, man, I tell you what, it's been a fun week. I tell you, we've had quite a bit going on this particular live stream over the course of the last couple of days. And I wanted to kind of talk about that real quick. If you haven't seen the show that we had last Saturday, Tom Burns and I, right there, good Tom, and we had a show, yeah, right down there. We had a show where we did. I think it was called My Oak Island Tours with Tom and Jeff. Yeah, so we had 5 wonderful ladies on the show, and they shared their pictures and experiences and some video of Oak Island tours that they had been on over the past. Some of them 3 times and whatnot. But I tell you, it was a lot of fun. If you haven't seen that show, you really need to go check that out. It's out on our Facebook page, and it's also on the YouTube channel, JFree906. So you can check it out either place. But it was a lot of fun. And I tell you, and what's so cool about it is that you see and hear about stuff from the tours that we don't see on the show. That was the really cool thing about it. Like the coffins.
Yeah, really good. It was really good. And the ladies also went as far as to post additional photos afterwards on our group page, and some of the video clips from Charles doing his tour.
Yep.
Instant history lesson.
Yeah, exactly. It really was. Yep. And that's it. Yeah, the ladies killed it. You're right, Jeff. Exactly right. They did an awesome job. And we are going to do that again at some point here. We're going to do that again because it was so much fun. We are going to do it again. We'll put the word out. Linda will take care of it. It was Linda's idea. She had come up with this plan to do this, and it was great. And tell you, so we're going to put the word out again at some point to invite folks to come on with us. We tried to limit them to how many pictures. That's why they shared so many after the fact on the Facebook group page, because we tried to limit them so we could get through all 5. Maybe we'd cut it down to 4 next time. I don't know. We'll see. We originally had 6, and then one of them couldn't make it. I've forgotten her name already. I'm sorry. I got a complete loss. But anyway, so but we ended up with 5, and then we went over time. So because they had some great pictures. But anyway, it was a lot of fun. If you haven't seen that, you need to go check that out because it was fun. All right. So I wanted to say hi to a bunch of people here that have shown up tonight. See, Karen's here. Hi, Pat from Mississippi's here. Linda was here. Linda's here, and Linda. I never know if I'm pronouncing this correctly, Linda. It's either Simons or Simmons. But we had our show on Sunday night for Beyond Our World, John Edwards and I, and we were talking about the Shag Harbor UFO incident. And Linda, we found out that she was involved, and she knows our guest was Laurie Wickens from Shag Harbor, and she knows him. So they know each other, and it was kind of neat talking and going back and forth with that on Sunday night. That's on our Beyond Our World Facebook page, and it's also on the YouTube channel JFree906. You can check it out there as well. So, but hi, welcome. I'm glad you're here tonight, Linda. Amy's here. Amy, I'm going to be showing. I finally get around to showing the creation that you made, the map that we did for the money pit. So I'll bring that up in a little bit. So again, thank you for that. And Jan's here, Mary's here. Oh, let's see. And of course, Linda and Jan are working out there. And Facebook and YouTube. Appreciate you both so very much for doing that all. Jeff says, Mary says, hello, wildly out of place friends. Indeed, we are, aren't we? Oh, man.
He's up the batting order.
Yeah. Sand Dollar Ray, how you doing? Kat Fulton's here. Henry DeWitt's out there, of course. Henry's been doing a lot of stuff lately with the group. I tell you, he's really has stepped up and, always has actually since you've been in the group put a lot of stuff out there. So, and we really appreciate that, Henry. There's Jeff from Anchor Tours. Hi, Jeff. Michelle Gibson's here. Hugh is here. Craig Hammond, Deborah, Sharon's here.
Jack Campbell.
Jackson
here.
Yep.
Jacqueline.
Elizabeth.
Darlene Barkhouse, Doogie.
Yep.
Everybody's here.
Wow, I know. Great crowd. Thanks, guys, for coming by tonight. Tracy Benjamin's here.
Sharon from Maine.
Yep. Hello from Michigan, Tracy Benjamin. All right. I will be back there soon, very soon. Let's see. Yeah. So anyway, I tell you what, we really have had a great week on the show with everything going on. Houston, Texas. Dave, Kate's here, Cheryl's here, Patrice is here. Oh man, thank you guys for coming by tonight. We got quite a bit to cover. Again, last night's show was a little bit lackluster until they got toward the end. We had some highs and lows. I mean, I was riding high and then riding low and riding back high again as we went along. But still it was interesting.
I had a lot of money. I had a lot of money riding on DM2.
DMT2. I know. I did too. I think I'm on record for saying I really think this can's going to be the one. Yeah. Matter of fact, I think I said that about the one before that too. But hey,
you said that about every can.
I think I did, right?
Yeah.
Dan Hiskey 82. I think I said it about that one, and early Christmas one and all that. So yeah. Oh, okay. Anyway, so yeah, we've had a busy week, but it's been a lot of fun, and we really appreciate all you guys that show up and watch those shows. And as always, when you're on the YouTube side, if you click on that subscribe button, and if you like our content, give us a thumbs up. The comments are great even after the fact, because it kind of works on that YouTube algorithm where we get more views, the more likes we get, and the more comments we get, and we get more distribution through YouTube. And that's really what we want to do, is let people know that, hey, we've got a show here that you may like. So if you like our content, give us a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. We appreciate that very much. Oh, let's see. So, and don't forget, coming up we don't have any show coming this Saturday, the 16th, of course, Easter weekend. So we're taking the weekend off, as most people do. So no show this coming weekend at all. We will have a show on the 19th, of course. That's episode number 23. That's called Follow the Cobblestone Road. Follow the Cobblestone Road. We'll be talking a little bit about that, as we get toward the end of tonight's recap, because I think that ties in with what they were talking about at the end of the show. And then on the 23rd, Saturday the 23rd at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, we have Laird Niven. Tom Burns and I will be hosting Laird. I just spoke with Laird today, and he's looking forward to it. We are too. And then after that, on the 30th, Saturday the 30th, we have Ian Spooner, Dr. Ian Spooner, and Steve Guptill coming on. Maybe one other guest. We're still working on that. But we'll see. Right now, we've got Dr. Ian Spooner and Steve Guptill are coming on for us, and we're going to talk about all of that stuff. And again, why did you wait so long? Because we waited so long to bring these guys on, because we want them to be able to talk about what's been happening on the show. If you bring them on too soon, then they can't talk about anything. It's really doesn't make a lot of sense to have these guys from the island coming on too soon, or Vanessa, Lucido, or any of Carmen Legg, or any of these folks coming on too soon, because they can't tell you about what hasn't been aired. So that's why we wait. Spoon dog, I know. I promise I'm not going to say that to him. I saw, remember the look on his face when Jack said that? Spoon dog.
Oh yeah, that's a priceless moment.
The look on his face was kind of like, what? Oh goodness! But I'm not going to call him that when we have him on the show, so I'm not going to say it. But yes, Hugh, NDAs are a necessary evil. That's very true.
Yeah.
Yes, they are, and that's why we have to wait. I just think it's the right thing to do. Just wait and have them on after most of the season has aired or the season is done. Then bring them on. We know they're getting busy again already, but I think that's the smart thing to do, and they appreciate it as well. They've told us.
Everybody has lots of questions, right? And they can't answer the question if they have to come on too soon.
Exactly. And that's the they have mentioned it. They have told us that we are doing the right thing by waiting to bring them on, because it doesn't put them in an uncomfortable situation. So, all right, we'll leave that alone. So, last night, episode number 22. Yes, we can. And I think that has to refer to what happened at the end of the show when, they kept telling us, well, we got time for 4 this year. We're budgeted for 4, and then now we're going to be putting in a 5th can. So I guess that's where the name came from. Yes, we can, right?
Yes, we can.
So we had our contest. We only had one. How many do you think we're going to go in? 1, 2, 3, or 4? Yeah.
I don't think anybody saw 5 coming.
No.
I did not.
I didn't either. I thought
they had a fixed contract for 4. That's the way it sounded to me.
Yes, exactly right. I did too. I thought so. But yeah. Oh man, there's Michelle. Michelle is one of the ladies that was she's the one that said spoon dog. Michelle was with us on Saturday to share her pictures. So thanks for coming by here tonight with us. We appreciate you. Judy Rudabush. Hi, Judy. Thank you for coming. April. So, all right. So let's get into it. So the Curse of Oak Island, episode number 22. And yes, we can. So let me go ahead and bring up my first round of pictures, as we always do, or I always do, as I bring up the pictures of the starting scene of looking at Oak Island. And then you got the resort back here in the background, which hopefully I'll get to see sometime soon. I'm sorry?
I said Oak Island Resort.
The Oak Island Resort. Yeah,
it's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I love this picture here. I don't know what this island back here is. I don't know what that one's called. I'd have to consult Colin Jameson. Yeah, he probably knows. I don't know if he's watching tonight, but hi, Susan. Susan Otterson. Susan was also on the show Saturday. So the guys are working continuing to work on DMT2. And as you know, DMT2 was over on the edge of the Hedden shaft. And I've got the layout, and I'll show you that here in just a few. DMT2. Andrew comes over. He's with Irving Equipment Company, and he comes over and informs the guys that the can is at 137 feet at this point right here. Craig states that once they get past the last of the Hedden shaft, they should be in virgin ground until they hit a depth of about 145 feet. They did find a piece of metal, which I thought was pretty cool, in the spoils. Let's see. Yeah, then I like to get these pictures every now and then showing the can, the feet they put on the can. That gives you an idea of where they're at. So the can was at about 137, and all the way up here at the top would be 150. As their digging process goes. They did come up with this piece of metal. Now, I saw some people were talking about this, saying, "Oh, that's metal from the Hedden shaft," but
no, I don't think so.
It's too thin.
It's too thin.
Absolutely too thin.
The shield on the Hedden shaft was a 1/4 inch thick steel.
Yeah, and this is flimsy right here.
That's
actually, I got thinking about that. I can't even tell you what this flimsy piece of metal would have been for. It's not heavy enough to really support anything,
unless it's a liner for something or a cover.
Yeah. I mean, it's not, and it's very reminiscent, of course. And they mentioned this on the show. It's very reminiscent of the pieces of metal that they had found last time. I was trying to think exactly where they found it. And one of the other, was it in TF1? I think it might have been where they found the gold.
Yeah, with traces. And I think that's what they said they want to do, take it back and look for traces of gold. So
yeah, exactly. But being that thin, it would have to either be covering something or lining something or something like that. It's
definitely not structural. It's not structural. It's not like the steel that they use for the Hedden shaft.
Correct. Yeah, that was 1/4 inch. So yeah. So, but anyway, yeah, TF1, was that what it was? That's what Amy is saying. TF1. You might be right. It was the patch that came off of something, possibly.
Yeah. Henry says it looks like the same piece of metal that Dan Blankenship found as well.
Yes, that's very true. Yeah. To come out of the second dump last episode. Was that the round metal? Let's see. Luann is asking.
Oh, No, the round metal tube. I think that she's referring to is the it looked like a piece of the casing when they used to put the old drills down. They would put a piece of steel pipe down and run the drill bit down through the steel pipe, and it looked like a half moon section of that steel pipe that had broken off. I think is what's being talked about, or what she's referring to.
That's a good observation, AO. Yeah, if the fellowship had been more methodical, they would have started digging back from Smith's Cove to the money pit. They might have found. I thought about that too. You have to know that they know way more than we do, and that the show only tells us so much through the art of what Prometheus does with all the data they collect and the footage and everything else. There has to be a reason. I mean, so many times we sit here, we're the armchair quarterbacks, right? Analyzing the game after the fact and going, well, you should have thrown a pass there or whatever. And, I have to, even though, I think maybe once in a while we do come up with an idea they didn't think of. I have to think that most of the time they have data that tells them, why they need to do it a certain way. Does that mean they're always right? No. And also, that's very true, Linda. Thank you. That a lot of time the decisions are made because of permits needed, and that kind of guides them where they're going to be going, what path they're going to take during a show. So that's a very good observation. So we can't always sit here as an armchair quarterback and guess what's going to be, what they should be doing. I mean, we can, but we're not always going to be right. I mean, I do it all the time on this show.
Yeah, and they're also, I could see it if you weren't going to start. If you had no knowledge to go on, start at one point and go on a straight line. Or where they've done all the drill programs and they have all the results from the drill programs, they're taking their best educated guess at where to go.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Right. And, and then we have that seismic data. And I'm going to actually show some of that here tonight. The seismic data that they had done for the Money Pit area. And they had that new software. And they ran the data again with the new software, with the updated software. Remember, they had that, they're looking at those voids like a natural tunnel is what it seemed like with the data. And they followed it all the way from the Smith's Cove. That's when I was thinking the same thing you are, AO, about start punching holes in there and follow that along. We don't know exactly when that data was given to them. We assume it was in the middle of summer. But again, yeah, 2020 hindsight. You're exactly right, Susan. Yep. When did they go to Portugal? I don't know. I think that was I think that was earlier than this part of the season, this part of where the show is. Right now they're at the end, right? In the show. The end of the season. I think that was much earlier in the season, but we will find out, I'm sure, at some point. But anyway, let's continue on. So anyway, they're going to get this piece of metal looked at with the that new machine they've got. They'll get it checked and see if it has any kind of content, and try to get an age for it as well. So that'll be interesting to see what they come up with on this. And I hope we see it before the end of the season. We have only got 23, 24, and 25. We've got 3 episodes left.
3 left, yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully, and we know that it's going to be a lot about Portugal, right? So, and all of that. So they set up a dig plan over the winter and they follow it. Yes. They don't go off doing whatever they think yeah, it's very true. They do put a plan together at the beginning of the season or prior to them showing up on the island, and they follow it. And that's a good plan. Exactly right. Okay. Then we had this particular thing happen. With the hammer grab, they come pulling it out and it was screeching and as they were bringing it up out of the caisson. And they were talking about this cable and the chain. I think Robert Clotworthy, of course, he's reading copy. He doesn't know exactly what this is. He's reading copy of what they're telling him it is. But that's the cable right there that actually opens and closes the hammer grab teeth, the bottom of it. These chains are picking up the whole unit. This cable right here is another cable that runs straight up, and that's what opens and closes the actual mouth of the hammer grab. the grab. And without that, you can't continue, because people are like, oh, just pull it out of the way and get back down there. No, you got to get that thing hooked back up or you can't grab. That's what it's doing. It was kind of clear if you got a real good look at it. I don't know. Yeah, there's a picture of it going chain, but that's exactly what it's doing. It was opening and closing the hammer grab. So you can see it running right down in the center there.
Yep.
So that's what it was for. So anyway, yeah, they had to get that corrected right away. Let's see. Then the guys, now let's see, did I run it? Okay, I think I got that. Yeah, that right there caused them to stop things for a little while. And in the meanwhile, they're going to run that. Craig was going to run that piece of metal over and get it looked at. Let's see.
They never did talk about what they found on that metal.
No, not yet. Yeah.
No.
Let's see. I can't remember the second. I'm not sure. Maybe let's see. I've got another question for you. That tube that I was asking about, how come it looked so thin, like aluminum, when it came out of the second dump?
If it's the same half one, it could just be the composition of the metal. They could have been using galvanized pipe or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Oh, very true.
If we're talking about the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, if that's the same thing, we may not be on the same page of which piece you're talking about. Yeah, let's see. But he was on a teleconference.
Yeah, he was on the island at some point.
Yeah, Corian. Yeah.
He signed the hat.
Yeah, he did. He signed the hat, so we know
he was there.
Yeah, we know he was on the island. That's very true. So yeah, we can talk about that because he did sign the hat, and we saw the signature. So yeah,
so maybe they know where and picked him up and brought him back with them.
Yeah, right. They could have. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Take the company check, guys. Just make sure you fill her up with gas when you get back.
And he will be coming on the show. I don't think. Do we have a date for him yet? Not yet, but it's going to be after. I think we're not done seeing quite a bit of Corian. We'll talk about that more as we go along here, but it's not all done yet with Corian. Much more to come. So then you jump over to lot 8, and over there we got Gary and Michael John right here, lot 8, and they were working this area, this whole lot along the way. Gary, as you know, had a bunch of flags already poked in the ground where he was going through and going back after he had already metal detected it once. Plants his flags, and then they go back and take another look at it and dig it up. So him and Michael John head over to lot 8 to get that done. And I know that Deidre, last night on Deidre and Dustin, the Oak Island podcast, we're talking about the fact that, Michael John's a pretty tall guy, and he's got this little tiny shovel, but that shovel's a pretty nasty. I mean, that's a good shovel. That thing's got teeth on it. That's right. That's a root digging shovel there.
I really like him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do too. We'd love to get him on the show.
That'd be awesome.
He's a little timid about coming on. We've asked him a couple of times. Jan's been working him over pretty good, but he's not ready. But one day he will. He'll. Hi, Wanda. Wanda just showed up. You're not. Yeah, that's all right.
I enjoy seeing him on the show. Yeah,
me too. And I love the fact that now it says treasure hunter. Yeah, because he's a treasure hunter. That's what he's doing now. So that's awesome. But yeah, he's a good guy. We've chatted it up with him a little bit, and
he seems really interested in doing it too.
He does. He truly does.
Yeah, I really like him.
And he comes up with great insights.
Exactly.
He really has some great insights that he brings to the show. So yeah, we like Michael John quite a bit. That's what Amy said. He's a cool dude. He is. He really truly is. He fits in well with the fellowship. Absolutely. Yes, he is. Well, I don't know about Mahone Bay. Someone's asking if he's local. I don't know if he lives right there in Mahone Bay, but
I thought he was from Dartmouth. Someone said, but
yeah, that I'm not sure. Yeah, he is a treasure hunter now for sure. Yes, he is very astute. I'm not sure where he lives, but Jan probably knows because she's chatting it up with him all the time. But he is. Susan said he is from. Okay, I'm gonna Grenadines.
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 Grenadines. I'm not sure
what that means.
Okay. Grenadines.
Grenada. I'm not sure.
I don't know where Grenadines is.
Yeah, I don't. Let's see. Oh, okay. Yeah, Linda just commented too that they when they go in, Gary goes in, metal detects, plants his flags, then Laird has to go in and take a look at all the spots, and then they can go back after he approves things. Thank you, Linda, for pointing that out. I completely forgot that. If Laird okays it, then they can go back and dig that particular flag up. So it's a process. It's a whole process with this. The permitting and stuff. They get a permit.
Everything they dig, regardless of depth, has to be reviewed.
Yes, exactly. So
which just goes to show you that they're not planting stuff, or it's when you see them dig it, they're actually digging it. It's not we dug it a half an hour ago, we're going to come back and redig it.
Yeah,
it's the first time they've got the approval to go ahead. And so they put the bag back and they put the flag back when they dig something and they find it.
And then I would imagine that Laird has to go back and review what they found and record everything. And what they're doing when they do this, not only are they looking for anything that might be really impressive, any kind of coins or anything like that, but they're also looking for evidence of man-made structure, something, so that they can eventually get a permit, like they, to go back in and excavate deeper. Like when they did the scans with, they had Paul Troutman out there a couple episodes ago, and they were running those scans back over, and they found those anomalies underground. They went over with the excavator. They got a permit to go for 5 feet, was it?
Yeah, you get on 5 feet. Yeah,
right. And then now they want to get a permit to be able to go down and hit that other one, which I think was 20 feet, something like that.
Yeah, the second one is down 20 feet.
Yeah, so it's a process that they have to go through. So
they would have Paul on for a while.
What's that?
Paul hasn't been on for a while either.
No, Paul's very sporadic on the show.
He's a nice guy. My God, he's nice.
I haven't met. That's the thing. He seems like it. I wish he was on more.
He was so friendly to us when we were down there. It was just a really nice guy.
That's neat. They all seem like nice people. They really
he's probably tied up. He's probably tied up doing research most of the time. That's his.
That's what I'm thinking.
Specialty.
Yes. Yeah.
He was on earlier seasons, but he wasn't on much this one.
Yep. Paul lives in Maine. Oh, that's why he's not always there. Okay. Linda, I tell you,
Linda's a freaking encyclopedia.
She is, and if I didn't have her feeding me information during the show, I mean, I'd be completely lost. I'd be saying all kinds of stuff that isn't correct. All right. Well, thank you, Linda. Appreciate that. Yeah, Paul lives in Maine, so that's why he's not always there. Okay. Michael lives in Mahone Bay, Nova Scotia. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda.
Lindapedia.
Lindapedia.
Yeah. You know how many times this woman has gone back and watched every show in every season? I'll let her.
Linda's amazing.
She has good contacts too, let me tell you. Okay, so then they were going along and they found this piece of a link of we're assuming it's a link of a chain. Kind of cool. And Gary was talking about how it's oval. I mean, we've seen oval links, before in other places, but anyway, it's definitely encrusted very well. I know, isn't that great?
Looks like an onion ring.
Wikipedia. Yeah. I think I'm going to color it.
It's definitely been there a while. It is kind of odd shaped on one, or thinner on one side, thicker on the other. Whether that's the incrustation or wear and tear or the way it was made, it's definitely old.
Yep. Yeah, most definitely old. And there's another shot of it there. And I say there's a lot of wear, where the links would be for sure. On the end right here. But yeah, I'd like to see this thing cleaned up and see what it really looks like. But to put an age on it, it's kind of hard to do. Let's see.
Was it actually part of a chain, or was it just a link used to join two straps or two pieces of metal? Or
yep,
and used for a lot of things.
Yes, exactly right. And if it were, a link on one end, like this end, and then something a little bit softer, like leather or something else, a rope or something on this other end, that would be why this one's so worn down and this end isn't. Yep. Good point.
Quite possible.
Yeah. Yep. Let's see.
An old onion ring.
Yeah. I'm not gonna eat that one. A petrified onion ring. Lot 1, Lot 4, Lot 8, Lot 22. hold big rooms deep down. The new map shows you the money pit and all. Wow, that's a lot to read there. That's Everett. We're just about to find the gold and silver and old coins and lots more clues under the water to Frog Island. Oh boy, I hope you're right. I mean, that'd be great, Gerald. If that's the case, that'd be interesting.
Yeah, Shell says, I suddenly wanted onion rings.
Yeah. Oh. I won't go there. I'll stay away from it. All right. So then they found an ox shoe. Now, they found ox shoes all over the island, and they were talking about how this one was, Gary was talking about how it was so heavy duty. And it is. I mean, look at the size of that thing. And Carmen, yeah, that's a big animal. I would. Oh, don't go there, Hugh. I love Krispy Kreme donuts. Yeah, my body doesn't, but I do. But anyway, he's talking about how this thing was so heavy duty, right? And so it was a big oxen that would have had to shoe. We'll have to ask Carmen about this particular one.
It looks different.
Yeah, it does. It is a little bit different, and it looked like it might have been. Remember how Carmen was talking about winter shoes and summer?
Just thinking the same thing.
And it looks like
it's like, yeah, it's a winter shoe. My guess is it's a winter shoe.
Yeah, because it's got that clip right here, and this one here. There's a sticking out there too.
Yeah,
maybe one here.
See how much we learned from Carmen.
Carmen, that man is another wealth of information. Carmenopedia. When it comes to oxen and shoeing and metal and aging and metal and all that kind of stuff, he definitely knows his stuff. And he's coming back on the show too. We're going to have Carmen back on. When are we having Carmen on? He's on the calendar right now.
Don't have much. Yes, we do.
May 7th.
Okay.
You and I will be hit with Carmen. Yeah. Yep. Cool. All right. So, anyway, and then because this is why I love my co-host, because Tom came up with a great observation, because they were trying to speculate. Well, remember they said something about this lot, hasn't been farmed or anything. So why would there be an oxen shoe here and a piece of chain? Well, then Tom comes up with a great idea, and he shared this picture. Okay, what do you notice about this picture, folks? I'll give a couple seconds here because it takes about 15 seconds before what we're talking about for everybody to see it. But what do you notice about this particular picture and where they are standing, showing the ox shoe? A rock wall.
Close.
It's a road.
Somebody was moving rocks.
Somebody was moving a stone path. There you go. Yep. I mean, everybody sees the stones. I mean, you see this big pile of stones right here on the ground. I had to move my water thing out of there so I can see it. I'm looking over here at this my bigger screen. But yeah, maybe they used the oxen to get the trees for the time. Well, maybe, yeah. Or maybe they were moving stones and they had to use the oxen.
It could have been moving stones to, space for grazing, space for gardens, Maybe they were making their own trail to use in the wintertime or the summertime, and they had to get rid of the rocks. Mm-hmm. So you take them down.
We know full well that on the island, to separate the lots, many of the lots, not all of them, but to separate some of the lots, they used stone walls to mark the borderline of each lot, right? And that kind of looks like what this is. Either it's a pile or it's a stone. It's making a little bit of a wall running along right here.
Well, that's what you did when you cleared a lot or made use of the land for any reason. That's where you piled your stones. You put them down your own. You put them down your own borderline. That's very common all over the place.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. You got them. You got to put them somewhere. You might as well mark your boundaries.
Yep.
Right.
The odd time you'll see them stacked in the middle of a field, but most times they're along the edge.
Yep. Now, I mean, that makes sense of why that oxen shoe would be there and a heavy duty one. Yep. Would it also make sense why that piece of chain link is there too?
Could have been off a wagon, a sled.
Yep, exactly. Yep, a sled that they were pulling all these rocks on. They were, because they're not going to want to. Yeah, you might use a sled for something like that because these rocks are pretty big. You're just going to roll them onto a sled, so you don't have to do a lot of lifting, and then pull that sled somewhere. It could have broke a chain right there in that spot.
Yeah.
The other thing too is that if they were building any kind of a road, the Portuguese built stone roads.
Yep.
And the use of the corduroy road, where they would lay logs down over a boggy area, the corduroy road didn't come into use around here until the 1750s. So if it's any kind of a road, it's much earlier than that.
Yep. Now who's being the Tomopedia? Yeah. See, there you go. So that's a very interesting observation. See, this is why I love my co-hosts. And I have to have them on the show because they make me look good, right? But this is
our purpose.
Exactly, yeah. But he's exactly right. You know, I mean, if you put two and two together, that's kind of why they're finding these pieces right here. Now, people, well, they never farmed this. But was it used for grazing pasture? Was it used for, you know? I think somebody at some point had said something about there were a lot of cows on the island, and they were just allowed to roam the island because they're not going to go off the island, right? Because it's surrounded by water.
Cows can't swim.
Huh? What's that?
Cows can't swim.
There you go. So they're but they're not going to go into the water if they don't have to. So there you go. There's the exact thing. They're going to be clearing that, and hence making a pile of rocks. But anyway, it's good observation, and that's why.
Yeah. If they're just building a logging road to clear out the logs, right? They're gonna move those rocks out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna haul them out of the way. Make their own roads.
Yep. Donna McCauley. Hey, Donna. Donna's here with us tonight. Glad you're here. Donna, as you well know, was on Beyond Oak Island, and they were out looking for Sam
Bass.
Sam Bass. Thank you. I'm sorry. Again, I ran into a senior moment there. Sam Bass doing the metal detecting out there. So yeah. Hi, Donna. Glad you're here with us tonight. So anyway, that's a great observation. That makes a lot of sense. And they're standing right next to it. So you just kind of put two and two together. So that's interesting to what they found there. But, and again, they're finding those things. They're there detecting because they want to be able to get permits to go deeper and maybe excavate down to 20 feet in that one spot. But again, I mean, you and I, all of us know that in the process of owning most of the island, which OIT does most, well, I don't know if it's OIT under that name, but they own most of the island. Why would you not metal the entire thing? Absolutely. Everything you can legally do. You can't go on lot 5, but you would metal detect the entire thing, of course. But that's what's helping them with lot 8. Lot 8 is bringing up some very, very interesting some finds. Then we go back to the money pit, and the hammer grab begins after being repaired. Andrew notifies the team they are 146 feet with the dig at and the can is at 157. The next scoop comes out full of material to be checked, and the team finds this right here. Puddled clay. That term always kind of throws me off just a little bit. Puddled clay. They didn't say it was blue clay, but it is thick clay, and at a depth of 146 feet or thereabouts, 146, 150. Another very, very interesting find if you think about it in terms of why would it be down there that deep.
Mm-hmm. It looks very sticky.
Yeah. And we know that it's used for sealant or holding things together or sealing things up. Perfect reason why it would be there, right? If it's down there, putting, of course, over a vault or something like that. Here's another shot of it. And it's like, it's like modeling clay. It's very thick. It's going to seal very, very well. So that's a very interesting find, in my opinion. And this was where they showed what, this is where they said when they were going down through the money pit originally, they had come across right around the 90-foot stone area. They'd come across the row of logs like this going across, making a level, and they were covered with blue clay, sealing it up. Could just be natural. Yes, Jan, you're right. It could. But they had documented finding clay like this one here. It was documented by the original digging of the money pit, was found on one of the lower levels, the 9th level. I don't know if it was the 9th level. Was it the 9th level that they found the clay? I think it was. Where they found the 90-foot stone. What's that?
I think that's what they said, yeah.
Yeah. With the 90-foot stone. Yeah, I'm going to bring up Amy's comment here. So, it works as a great sealant. And the other place that they said that they had found it was on top of, they hit clay, then they hit, this was I'm at a complete loss again all of a sudden. The chapel dig. When chapel was drilling, they hit clay, then they hit a concrete type substance, then they hit wood, and then they dropped. And then it dropped. And that's why they were saying that was the chapel vault. They named it the chapel vault. Clay, they hit clay first, then they hit a concrete type substance, then they hit wood, and then it dropped for several feet after that. So that's why I think personally that the clay is important. Let's see here. Oh, Harla's here. Hi, Harla. Let's see. Oh, has been used to. Let's see. What did Linda say here? Not how it was used. Oh, cattle grazed all over. They weren't solid walls. Okay. Oh, talking about the border walls of the properties. Yeah. Puddle clay started being used in the UK in 1780 for canal construction. Oh, I did not know that. That's cool. So, but that's it. This is why the clay is important to find, because it has been documented that it was found before down there. And again, yes, it could be natural. It could be a natural layer of clay. But again, it was found at depths of 140 some feet. 143, I think, is where they hit the chapel vault, what they're calling the chapel vault. As they continue going on, let's see. Oh, it said, yeah, matter of fact, let me bring that up here. It said the team finds puddled clay like they found on the Oslo Company in 1804 by Blair and Chappell, just before drilling into the vault at 153 feet. So then the next scoop comes out containing wood that the team describes as very dense and very heavy. And they also find a piece of wood that's covered in the puddled clay. Now, you go back to this picture. Now, if you got a piece of wood that's covered in clay, was that clay being used to seal up that piece of wood at one point? We can guess. We can speculate. We don't know for a fact if it was, but it sure seems weird if it wasn't, right? But is it possible it was just laying down there where natural clay was? Yeah, it's possible. Yes.
But the boards and the timber weren't natural.
Right. Right.
They didn't magically appear 170 feet underground.
Exactly. And they weren't roots that deep. So there you go.
No.
And they were down into they were below the head and shaft. So they were in virgin soil down there. So if they're going to hit wood down there, that wood would almost have to be original depositor wood. Dumb question, but are cows and oxen the same? That is not a dumb question. That is a good question. And yes, they are. I think the oxen are actually the male, right? Is that what Carmen was telling us?
Yeah.
The males, and the cows are the females. Yeah.
Basically, it's a neutered bull. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. It's a neutered bull. And he gets all big and beefy and great for pulling stuff around, using for labor.
Much calmer. And he's much calmer.
Yeah. He's much more calm. Yep. Well, we won't elaborate on that too much, but yes.
Don't go down that rabbit hole.
Don't go down that rabbit hole, but you're right, Jim. That is not a dumb question, because we all asked that of Carmen when we had Carmen on the show, and he explained that to us. So, yeah, not a dumb question at all. Yeah, there you go. There's Linda telling you right there. An ox is a castrated bull, so yes, they are the same as cows, yes, in that sense. Yeah, a lot of people chiming in, so yeah. Yeah, that's I know this, Donna. That's something that gets me every single time they call off a dig. Is that right there? It could be 5 inches away. But they said they hit bedrock. Let's see. Danny comes over and tells the team they're casting now 174 feet, which is below that 150-foot level. They keep hitting bedrock at 150. They're already below that, which again, we go back to that gentleman that made that model. And he sent me a bunch more pictures of that model, by the way, that had the money pit model that he created. I might have to show those at the end of the show here tonight, because I asked him to send me some more pictures of it. And it is an elaborate model this guy created. And I
haven't seen that.
I'll show you I got some pictures from him. He sent, and it's amazing what he created. Basically it shows the bedrock. He made like plaster and made this level of bedrock, and then all the caissons that they put down with clear plastic tubes showing where they come through at, and then some of them that went down further showing where they might have been in a void in that bedrock. And what they found, it shows the bones found and stuff like that, little tags on them. It's quite.
Oh, you got to show it now, Jeff.
Yeah, it's an undertaking. He posted one picture of it on our Facebook page, and then I asked him to send more, and he did. I'll share those with you here at the end. But it's an amazing thing this guy created. I can't believe he went through all the time and effort to make this thing. But yeah, we'll get over to that in just a second. But Danny comes over and tells him we're at 174 feet, and they put another 5-foot piece on, which brings them to a casting total of 191 feet. The team notices that the can goes down very quickly.
Yep.
And the hammer grab comes out. There's hardly anything in it. And the team decides to call an end to DMT2 because they figure that they've hit the bottom and hit bedrock. Now,
we were talking about that before.
They clearly hit a void. They said it dropped several feet. It was over 6. I think somebody said 6, and he goes, "Oh, it goes over that." I don't know if they actually said how far it dropped. Did they?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't think they caught. I don't think anybody said. I think somebody said like 6 feet, and he was like, "Oh yeah, it's more than that," or something like that. But it dropped, and you could see it. I mean, it was just no resistance. The thing was just being pushed right down by the oscillator. Was just pushing it down with ease. And then it gets to the bottom, and they stop because they didn't get anything. And it really bugged me because Rick admitted, and this is where I went back and wrote down what Rick had said here. Rick admits a void below, okay, but says they may never know about that void. Was it man-made or was it natural? And they may never know unless a man-made object gets brought up from it. And they came up with nothing, but it's still a void. And it bugs the heck out of me because they've got a void, and I want that. I keep thinking, I know it's muddy. They've stirred the water all up with the hammer grab. They wouldn't be able to see anything in there for a week, and they just don't have that kind of time. But I think, man, oh man, could you get something down there, to take a look at that, because it just bugs me that. They stop.
Yeah.
And they're in a void.
Mm.
It just really, obviously it really bugs me, because I'm like, I want them to keep going, but they can't. If they hit bedrock, and Dale and I were talking about this before the show. If they hit bedrock and they try to drill into it, it creates a plug. Just like a hole saw in a piece of wood, for those of you who've done that before, carpenters or whatever, you take a hole saw and you drill it into a piece of wood to drill. What do you got when you pull that back out? Or you've got a plug of wood in there plugging up that hole saw that now needs to be taken out before you can do anything else.
That's the best explanation I've heard of that.
Yeah, if you go down into the bedrock, you're going to end up putting a plug in the can that you may not get out of there very easily. It'll have to be.
If you do push it down, you're going to crush whatever underneath it.
Yes.
Someone said drop a diver down there. What's Tony up to?
Yes. Get something down that hole. My goodness, it's a void down there. You could have, just like that one picture showed. They had one picture that showed the caisson going down, right? And here's this void, and there's the chapel vault sitting here, and here's the caisson going right past it, like a foot away. It's a void, and C1
Chris getting all frustrated.
I know I should, but C1 is a void, so you know C1's a void, and I'm going to show those pictures here in just a second. But that was interesting what Rick had said there. And here's the other part of this. Well, let me go on to look at the next picture here real quick, see what I got. Okay, they bring over all these pieces of wood, which were really kind of exciting to see. Yeah, it was wood, and you heard Marty say, "I'm tired of finding wood," but this piece was really interesting. This is the piece of wood. I think it had the clay on it, is it not, Tom?
I think it is. Yeah. That's the
And
plank.
It's a piece of plank, and it's definitely there. It is there, and they were talking about the saw marks on it were not a circular saw of any type, and it kind of looked like that saw that Scott Barlow was talking about, where you got the man in a pit saw, and they're running it. Two people, one below and one above, cutting planks.
Yep.
It kind of looks like it was sawed like that. So that would make it, and they are going to age it because they went over and they put one of their seals or stamps on it, those little metal rings that they number them with the stamps, and then they nail it into the piece of wood and have it tested later. So we may find out about this plank. But again, you got a plank, it's got clay on it, it's old, and a plank should not be down there.
No, some of the really old drill programs where they used the really small drills, back in the early 1900s or 1800s. They talk about drilling through planks at depth.
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody just told me, who just said that? Somebody told me, Hugh said, Jeff, take a breath. I know. I get myself.
But I mean, you can hear in Craig's voice last night too, when he said, it's disappointing. We had, I think they probably had especially high hopes for this one. They know they hit the edge of the head and shaft.
Yep.
And to get to the bottom and miss, whether it was by a foot or a mile, who knows?
Mm-hmm. It'd be kind of cool if they did put a can down and bring the sonic drill back in to go down the can.
That's what. Yeah, I was just looking at. Somebody had just said that.
That's what I was reading.
Or here, yeah. Darlene said that.
I just realized that they could bring the sonic drill in.
Yeah,
bring the sonic
drill in and put a drill down through there and go down below the
bedrock level.
Below the bedrock.
Well, if they do decide to sonic drill it again, at least it's just going to be filled in with gravel, right? Go right through it for a joke.
Well, and that's the other thing that I that really kind of gets to me too. That's interesting. Yeah, no, that would be a good idea. That was Michelle. Put a camera down there and leave it. And while you go on and work on some other stuff, you're gonna, and let the water settle and then see what you see down there. That's a good idea. If it would last down there that long. But yeah.
Don't they put one down when they first arrived back at the island though?
Don't they what?
Don't they put one down when they arrived back at the island after the winter?
For the smaller tubes, yeah.
Yeah.
They put one down in C1, I think.
Oh, yeah. Well, they left C1 in place, right? But those 10-foot cans, you can't leave those in place.
Right.
They have to take them out.
Yep.
That's too bad.
Which is what, a long-lasting, tough camera. That's a great idea. I'd love to see them do that. Yep.
I didn't think of that. It was your idea, Darlene.
But, but this piece of wood is pretty significant because it's a plank. It's a wall. It's a wall piece or a roof piece or a vault piece that may have been broken off when they were doing all this hammer grabbing and everything else. They might be just feet away from the chapel vault.
Someone said they sent cameras down to the Titanic.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, it's pretty clear down there, but yeah. That's Craig. That's exactly where I was going next. What you just said is exactly where I was going next. Now they have taken and they filled it in as they were bringing the caissons back up. And there was a void down there. How much backfill did they just fill into that void area and maybe block it off? And now it's not partially a void area anymore. Maybe they just created a cave in that void area in one particular spot. Wow.
That's likely why that other caisson started to collapse a few years ago there.
Yeah.
There's an idea. Someone said a mini sub. You can get little tiny subs.
Get that ROV, the one they were using out there to look at to follow Tony around under.
Yeah, I'm sure they can remotely operate it from up top.
Yeah.
Ken DeBoer works for Tony, so
Yeah.
That's it, Jeff. We're going to get you on the island.
We need to be there. A sub drone. Thank you. Get a mini sub down there. Something. I mean, don't get me started again. But now they just filled it in with backfill. They filled in the pit with backfill, the open void down there with backfill. And they might have been that far away. They might have actually hit part of the chapel vault because they got that chunk of wood. All right. Okay, so they didn't. Just think that they did.
yeah.
All right. Now here's
Not
something.
this time.
Now here's something else that I wanted to ask this question, and I threw this out to Laird Niven, and Laird told me to go elsewhere for the answer. So other people suggested who I would ask, but I was asking this question. Now, folks, I might be completely out in left field on this, but hear me out. I thought of this last night. I was watching the show. You see that water level right there coming up in this can. Now, Hedden went down 153 feet, and Hedden put metal on the bottom of the Hedden shaft, did he not? And he went down 153 feet, and they stopped. There was no water in the bottom when Hedden went down there because they would not have been able to. They didn't send divers down to build that. They didn't send divers down there to put that metal in, right?
No,
They
they
were
had
down
pumps.
there. Huh?
They would have had pumps down there, I think.
They would have had some kind of pumps, but they've tried to pump this out and have been unsuccessful. Dan Blankenship tried to pump out 10X and was unsuccessful because it kept coming. The water just was coming in as fast as they could pump it out. So they quit trying that option. That's why they were trying to block off the flood tunnels, pump it out. Look at the water level now. I mean, that's not very far down. What is that, 40 feet down that can, if that?
I don't know.
And they're hitting water. Now, granted, I don't know my science that well to say that if you put a straw down into which is essentially what they're doing with the cans, they're putting a straw down there. And if you reach that water level, would that water level then come up to sea level in that can? Or I'm wondering, so I asked the question, has the money pit area underground, the voids and all that, has that filled up deeper than what it was? Has the water table risen from what it was back in the day of Hedden? Now, I think that I might be missing some of this because of the can being down there, and maybe the water's allowed to come up the can higher than it would in the void area down below. But what am I missing here?
I think that's a question for Spoon Dog.
Well, that's where he's and they're going to be on the show on the 30th, so I'm going to ask them. And again, maybe I'm out in left field on this whole thinking, but it just seems to me, I mean, they got all this water and they hit water very quickly, as you can see in this can. But yet they were down there 153 feet when Hedden was there, and they didn't have water. I mean, they were able to go down there.
Maybe Hedden got lucky and didn't hit a flood tunnel.
As I mentioned this, I just got somebody responded to me from the island.
We're in trouble.
Yeah, maybe he's watching the show and he just responded.
Call him Spoon Dog.
No, it's actually Mr. Crow.
There's Deidre just joined us. Hi, Deidre.
Hi, Deidre. Thanks for coming by. Oh, sorry she's late. Well, you guys are so busy these days. You guys did your recap last night too at 11:30. I'm sorry I can't stay up that late and watch it. No, I just can't. But
I watched it today though, Deidre. Good job.
I was watching it today too during the day while I was at work. Didn't say that, man. Hedden used the deeper chapel shaft as a pumping shaft, lowering the water below the depth of the dig in his shaft, allowing it to be dug in the dry. Hedden's first summer on the island was spent repairing the shaft for that purpose. There you go. There's my answer.
There you go.
Thank you, Doug. It was bugging me ever since last night. Ever since I thought about that, I'm thinking, well, did the water levels rise all of a sudden? Why is that the case? But there you go. Thank you. All right.
Now we got to be good because we know the island people are watching.
But that answers my question, because it just bugged me. It really, really bugged me to want to figure out why is the water so high now, but it wasn't back then, and they were able to. But I thought they really have worked so hard to pump it, and they've just been unable to. But I don't know.
It's good when these guys chime in with their answer.
Yeah. Gotta love the fellowship. Yep. Hello from Los Angeles. Who's that? Susan. Hi, Susan. Susan from Los Angeles. Yeah. Thanks, Doug. For sure. Somebody's Hugh, and you guys are channeling together or something here. All right. Well, that answers that question. So a mystery is solved, as the Pink Panther guy.
Mystery solved. Yep. One mystery solved.
Yeah. The mystery is solved. But yeah, so anyway, here we jump over to the money table. The watch table. We got Michael, John, and Stephen looking on the money table, or the money table. I did it again, the watch table for stuff. But they did find like a piece of I'm sorry.
I was going to say Steve's dressed pretty warmly there, so it's late in the year.
You know,
it's late October. That's late October.
So they found, Steve finds a piece that at first he thinks is a fossil, but it turns out to be a coal. Coal was used by the mining operation in Europe in closed furnaces to provide oxygen for the workers. Remember, we were just talking about that the other day, about the fact that the actual money pit shaft that they went down, where they found the 90-foot stone and all that, could very well have been a chimney. They build a fire at the bottom of it, and they would need coal, right? They build a fire at the bottom of it, and then it draws in fresh air from the side tunnels, providing fresh air for the workers. So there's a reason why maybe there would be coal.
Jeff's losing it.
Oh, just read it. Yeah, Deidre just said. That's what I was chuckling about. Anyway. No, I haven't been drinking.
What's in that cup?
Yeah, what's in that cup? It's actually just tea in my Oak Island Beyond live stream cup. Just tea. Yeah, so that was what I think that's the piece that they found right there. They showed a picture of it here real quick. And he finds a piece of cement that will need to be tapped. So we'll definitely probably look at that. There it is there. That's the piece of cement. It definitely looks like cement because you can see the other
wire going through it too, isn't there?
Yeah, it has some kind of a stem or a stick or something.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure what that was all about.
They found things at different time on the island, different depths that they thought was cement. And some comes back as limestone, and actually one time it did come back as verifiable cement. But it could be hard pan too.
It is. I'm telling you, it's just it is actually Monster tea. It's for a little pick me up, but it's just tea. There's no alcohol in there. Sharing the catnip with the cats. Yeah. Oh, he's got some more here. Okay, I'm gonna have to read this now. The water has remained relatively consistent over the last 150 years, so it is one of the ways we can judge surface elevation changes during that time span. That's awesome.
Yep.
Now, see, that's what I was saying before. Go ahead, Tom. Sorry.
That's a great answer.
It is.
Yep.
Remember when I was saying before that there's so much that goes on the island and so much data. When AO was talking about following from Smith's Cove up to the money pit, following the tunnel, there's so much data they have that we don't have. And there you go. There's something I had no idea that they were using that water level to gauge the surface level and how it's the changes during that time span. The surface elevation changes during that time span. Thank you. That's awesome. Thank you, Doug. That it really is. I got to respond. Okay. All right. That's cool. Really, really cool. All right. So, anyway, they find this right here.
That wash table would be so interesting to work on.
Yes, I know. I've said, many of our viewers have said the same thing. Many of us have jumped in and said we would do that in a heartbeat.
Someone mentioned about doing it for a charity bid for Christmas Daddies. I don't think they would because of insurance reasons.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I would think it's probably still classified as a construction site. So you have to be pretty careful.
Oh, yeah. You'd have to have insurance, and it'd be it'd be a mess.
Yeah. Yep.
Safety training for the people, everything. Yeah.
Yep.
You have to share jackets with Steve. He's an awesome guy. My God, he's funny.
Yeah. He's coming on again with Ian Spooner, but he's a great guy. He is
so nice. He was so kind to us when we were doing the fundraiser. He's just an amazing guy to get to know and talk to.
Yep. Yeah, I can't wait to hopefully when I'm up there this summer I'll get a chance to meet him. I'd love to. I'd love to meet all of them.
It's gonna be a good show when you have him on. He's really interesting, and he's a really kind guy too.
Yep. Oh, there's a question. Jan's asking for Doug. Does the full moon change the water table levels in the shafts? Right? Does the tide? I wonder if it changes the water level.
Well, come on, Doug, we're waiting.
I mean, the moon does change the elevation of the tides, or the level of the tides, and whether the depth of the water in the money pit's affected by the tides is a different story, I guess.
So Steve's not going to share his jackets, eh?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting.
But if they're smart enough to make compensation for where the water is, I think if it does affect it, they're smart enough to make that type of compensation too.
See, that's just so cool that he answered the question that way, because I had no idea. Linda says the Fellowship trusts Irving and Rock. They know that these people know when they are on cement, or when they are on wood, or when they are on bedrock. Yeah, exactly right.
Absolutely, yeah.
There's no doubt about that. And even though I question it, and I wonder why they don't just keep on going. You're exactly right, and that's why. And you've seen the look on their faces. I mean, they were all stated when they came up on DMT2. I mean, everybody. That's the where we see exactly what they go through day to day. We get disappointed. Was disappointed. I really was hoping that D2 would be great finds, but
I got a question for you.
They
Just
don't.
a question for everybody there. You're really lagging, Jeff.
That's what somebody else said. They said my mouth is not in time with my voice.
You're stopping, and
every now and then.
Yeah. I think it has to be my connection. It's also very warm in here, and maybe my computer's getting a little warm, but it's got to be my internet connection. It's having some. Let's continue on. All right, we jump over to the war room, and this is where they go in and tell us that that everybody was wrong. That I know of. Pinging, yeah, I must be having some latency issue. That everybody was wrong, and that they're going to put in a fifth can. Now, this is something where they showed this one here. So you see that TF1 was here, EC1 was here. Over here on the edge, I guess it was a little bit further down, but over here on the edge is where DMT2 is, way over here by the head and shaft. That's way over by the right-hand side. So you got TF1 here, EC1 here, D8 was here, right on top of D4, or F4, sorry. And then you got DMT2 over here. Now they're going to be shooting for the north of C1 up here in this area on the next can, on this fifth can. And here we are again. So TF1, EC1 of DMT2 is way over here and shaft. And now, and then D8 here over F4. Now they're going to be up here. They're going to this one.
Get C1 pretty much surrounded.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to surround C1. And I'm going to pull up this one here because I want to show this. I think I jumped out of this. And they let Scott Barlow name this one. I thought that was kind of cool. So Scott got to name this can. And I forgot what was a, oh, shit, it's probably in my notes here.
B4C.
B4C. Yeah, B4C. B4C. Now, here's where I want to share. And Amy, thank you, Amy, very, very much for what you were able to do here. I'm going to show this picture. Now, you guys remember me talking about this, and I wanted to make sure it was exactly right, as close as we could get it. Now, we did send this to Steve Guptill, and Steve said that, he wouldn't be able to be absolutely positive that it was right unless he pulled up his AutoCAD. But he said it looked pretty doggone close to him. And this is what we did. Amy took satellite imagery of the money pit. Then we took this picture that you see here in this block. And this is a picture that was given to me or shared to me by Jer Henderson, who did the drone footage over Oak Island. He shared this picture with me. Now, this particular picture, how we know we got this pretty close is by 2 points. We used 2 points. Amy did. Amy used 2 points. One was that the only obstacle besides the piles here for the cofferdam piles were over here. The only obstacle that was in the money pit visible in this picture was C1, which we know C1 is a can. It's still there. It's always there. They have not removed it. Okay. So C1 is right here, the small red circle. That's C1. So she centered C1 over the grid C1. This was that map that I always wanted to get. So she centered it over C1. And then we know AB13 was right over here in front of the Women's Memorial. And that's where AB13 is right there. Okay. That's the pipe that they put down, the drill they put down that had the air shot out of it. Remember that one? It had the water gushing up and the air blowing out of that pipe. So this was the one where I really wanted this orientation. There were some other people that came with different ones. Amy used the that I wanted on there so I could get an idea of what's really, truly happening here. Amy did a lot of work on this to make sure it was right. And north is pointing north and all of that. But it was my brain. I was trying to wrap my brain around exactly how this was laid out in the money pit, that grid thing. I was thinking that it was actually tilted the other direction. It helps me to understand what this is. So there you are with the over the money. So now they did, I'm going to zoom in on it. Of course, you can see the Women's Memorial here, which has a shaft in it, by the way. So got TF1 was the first can, then EC1, and then DMT, Dan Henske 82 was here. Then you got, this one was way over here. That's DMT2 is way over here. And now they're going to be drilling right here. So right over top on the north side of E1. So Amy did a fantastic job with this. Thank you so much, Amy, for doing this. Appreciate you very much for putting this together for us. So great work. And now here's another thing that I wanted to point out about this. Now, you know that they hit this void over here in DMT2, right? Now we know that C1 has a void below it. Okay. We know that because they've been down there. They went down there with a camera and we saw pictures down there. TF1, I don't know if they hit bedrock, right?
I think so, yeah.
And they hit bedrock on EC1, I think, too. And DH82, they hit bedrock. But why not right here? And I'm a little curious about EC1, too, because now here's why I bring this up. Now, you know they hit the void over here. And you know they hit the void in C1. Okay. Now, I'm going to show this next picture. This is from when they did took the seismic data of the money pit and they added they used the new software that we saw earlier this year. Remember that line? They showed that there was some sort of a tunnel or a void. It might have been natural. It kind of looked natural when you looked at it from the pictures that were, they were showing, the graphic that they were showing when they were presenting this to them. But they showed that tunnel that was leading all the way from the Smith's Cove area, which is over here, all the way over to the money pit. And this box that everybody says, drill that box. Well, the problem is they don't know exactly where that box is or if it truly is a box. But they said it was like 12 by 12, right? Didn't they say that?
Yep. I think they did, yeah.
Okay. So if this is a void area, a tunnel all the way running along here, if that is a void and it's running from Smith's Cove to the money pit, and then we jump back over here. And again, this is just me thinking, folks. I am not a scientist. You know that. But this is just my thoughts on this. And we hit a void here with EC1, DMT2, and they hit one here in C1. And we know that the Smith's Cove is over this way. Over this way, right? Is that the line? Is that the open tunnel underneath the ground that they found with the seismic data? Is it running right along here? And if they drill over here in this new north of C1 in this new shaft, this is going to be, B4C. I think, is that where the box is? Is that where that 12 by 12 box is? Is it over here? Is it a flood tunnel? It could be. It could be a flood tunnel. Remember that map, or that when was it Doug or was it Charles that was reading that ship's log and it said, enter from the sea. I don't know.
Who knows? Who knows?
Who knows? And I'm just speculating. I have no idea. Coming from Smith's Cove, yes. This picture in this one here is coming from Smith's Cove to the money pit. It was coming from shaft 12. I think they called it shaft 12, if I remember right. This was several episodes ago. We can go back and revisit that. And I may end up doing that for next episode.
Too bad you couldn't overlay that.
Huh?
Too bad you couldn't overlay that on your map.
Well, Amy probably can. Amy.
You're just making it so much easier than explaining it all.
Could you take and overlay this over top of an aerial view of the money pit in Smith's Cove? Yeah, I know. I ask people, too much. I really do. But anyway, that's my thinking on this. Because you got Smith's Cove back over here, and you got a line coming in. They hit it right here on DMT2, and they hit it in C1. Will they hit it again with the new shaft?
Once they get that B4C down there, we'll find out.
We'll find out. Exactly right. What did Linda say here? I was thinking that they didn't reopen the shaft 12. They are doing some drain work there. Oh, okay. Where does that map line up on the other map? I don't know. That's the question. And if maybe Amy, maybe that's what we got to do next. Maybe we got to take a look at that next, and somehow overlay that. Well, I don't know. AO, maybe. One vault of a 12 by 12 would not be enough to bury a shipload of treasure into Oak Island. And I think the Fellowship are overlooking that. I don't know. I don't know. It depends on what it is. I mean, if it's 7 feet high and 12 by 12, you can put a lot of stuff in there. You can definitely fit the Ark of the Covenant in it.
That's the break room.
In the yeah. In the menorah.
That's not to say that it's the only chamber.
Exactly.
Exactly. Very good point. So anyway, again, great work, Amy. This is exactly what I was trying to get to, and I wanted a real live picture of it. And so there you go. Anybody can share this. I don't care. I'm not going to put my name all over it, as you've seen with some others. I don't care if it's shared. Amy did the work on it. She should get credit for doing this. Amy Mulligan, she's out there. She was watching earlier. I don't know that she's still there now, but she actually did this work. I gave her the pictures, and she did the work to put this all together. So this is her creation, and she should get any credit at wherever it goes. But I'm saying, go ahead. If you want to use it, share it around the other groups. I don't care. I'm not.
Hopefully she can overlay that other one on top of it.
Yeah.
That'd be really, really cool to see.
Right. Yep. Yeah, that would be really neat. So share it all you like, folks. We'll put this. I'll post this out on the Facebook group page, and get it around. And again, we've got Stephen said, as best as he could tell, it looks accurate without putting it into his AutoCAD and checking it all that, which we know he can't do because he's under NDA. He can't share his data other than what we see pictures, snippets of it on TV. And we understand that. And I would never ask him to go past that, but I did ask him if it looked accurate to him, and he said it did. So
yeah, you never want to put them in a position that's going to be awkward. That's for sure.
No, absolutely not. And we don't want to do that. Oh, you know what? And I'm going to mention this too, while we're on the point of that. And this is something that I am very guilty of. I know this is, I'm interjecting here in the middle of it, but the thought came to me and I just want to say it while I'm thinking about it. We've put out in our Facebook group page about tagging the guys on the island. We're with many of the people on the island. So I can tag anyone I want. I can tag Doug or, any of them that I'm friends with on Facebook. Remember that when we do that, into this, because I've done it myself, but when I tag them in a post and anybody responds to that post, they get a notification and another one and another one and another one.
And it turns into hundreds.
Over again, all day long. They're out there on the island with their phones, and that's how they communicate with each other on the island when they're working. They're using their cell phones. And we're tagging them, and boom, bada boom, bada boom, and they're getting those hits. And it's really not a good idea for us to do that.
We're blowing up their phones.
We're blowing up their phones, guys. And we got to stop doing that. And like I said,
it's not just us. It's not just us. It's anybody that's out there in any group anywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
You get hundreds of them when you're tagged.
Exactly. So just please think of that. We ask, we're gonna keep them out of our Facebook group page. When we see a tag like that, we're gonna remove it. But just be thoughtful of them, and don't tag them. Say their first name, but don't let it go to the tag if you want to do that. Don't let it put it up in there in the blue. Just be respectful of them and their time and what they're trying to do out there on the island. So, and I'm doing
they are at work. They're at work.
They are at work, and we're really bugging them when they do that. I mean, yeah, you want to say, "Oh, look, I'm acknowledging him. I want him to see it." If he'll see it. Or they will see it. Just remember that, please, folks. We're asking, just let's not do that. I've already stopped. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not tagging the guys. So, birthday thing, sometimes that's different. Or do them on a birthday or something. Even that's questionable at this point. But we stopped in our group. We stopped tagging them. So I just thought of that, and I wanted to. We've mentioned it in the Facebook group, but I wanted to bring it out on the show too. So we're not going to be tagging them anymore. Anyway, okay, let's move on. So like I said, feel free to share this picture all you want. I'm not going to put my name all over it. I don't feel that way about that kind of stuff. Share it. It's information that's good for everybody. I'm not going to sit here and try to claim copyright something that I think is useful to everyone. Okay, we know Amy made it. I made that statement on the show here today. So feel free. Okay, so but laying that over top would be cool. Hopefully we do that. All right. So they decided to do a can number 5, and they're going to put it in the ground, and we did get a picture of it. Where did I have? Oh, let me go back. Sorry, let me do this. Am I giving you? You were rubbing your forehead. I thought maybe I was giving you a headache. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Okay. So this picture here. Okay. So this is where they started with B4C. This is where it's at. And it doesn't look like they've moved far, does it? It really doesn't look like it's moved very far from the other ones. And whereas I'm assuming, of course, that this is B. This isn't. Maybe this is. They just took the stock footage and they're using it, but it sure looked like it to me anyway. All right. So now we get over to the war room. And this is where we get started with the group is over. They got a conference call on the big screen with our friend Corian Mole. Corian back on the show again. As you guys know, Corian and Christopher Morford shared their research. They met on the Oak Island. They were both of them were asked to come out, and they met on the island, and then they started working together, and they are good friends. We've had them both on the show. Great guys. And they were talking about the line from Versailles in France over to Oak Island and how it lines up with Nolan's Cross, right down Nolan's Cross. And they've got a lot of other great research. Corian's coming back on the show. He'll be on after he's all done with the season and with the other episodes of that he may be on coming up right after the season is finished. But he's going to come on and he's going to share. We'll probably get Christopher Morford to come back on with us as well. So really cool to see Corian back in here. And we know that he is talking about the Portuguese connection. And what they, now you know that there has to be something really cool that has started all this or got them interested in this again, besides now he's researching this for them and he's bringing them new details. And it's also Judy Rudabush. Now, Judy is in our chat here tonight. So, and thank you again, Judy, for coming by. And she squares me away sometimes on things that I say on the show that are not quite right. And I do appreciate that because I'm not always right, as you guys well know. But Judy, great to see her out there. And she was research partners with Zena Helper. And I've got Zena's book right back over here. And so she was research partners with Zena, and we know that Terry DeVoe has been talking about the Portuguese on the island and the road. Remember the stone road that was found down in the southeast corner of the swamp. What else?
The rock shots that they were finding.
Yeah, those 2 rock shots that they found. They said that
there's absolutely no question the Portuguese were in the Maritimes. None
absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Well, we have a Portuguese cove here.
Mm-hmm. Do you?
Yeah, there's a Portuguese cove in Nova Scotia.
So it's good to see Judy on the show, and we know that she is a researcher extraordinaire, like Corian and Christopher on this. And there's a picture of Zena. You guys all remember the late Zena Halpern. Fantastic lady. Good question. Now, and we're going to find out. How can the Portuguese theory help Oak Island? We're going to find out in the coming episodes. And then afterwards, because we know a lot of it's going to get talked about and we're going to get a lot of detail, but we also know that there will be a lot left on the cutting room floor. And that's why we like to have somebody like Corian come on and help explain in greater detail. But we need to wait until it's been aired. Again, I go back to that whole thing. I'm not going to bring Corian on just yet. We've talked to him. He's ready to go. But we're going to wait until everything is aired so he can discuss it in more detail with us, or otherwise he will be able to. So Corian is coming on the show with us, and we'll have that. So the next couple episodes are going to answer your question.
Yeah, and the Portuguese just didn't maybe talk about that question a little bit. They had the motive, the opportunity, and the desire, to get out of Dodge in Europe. Right? They had the technical skill. They had people, they had the resources, and, were they here once, twice, 3 times? I don't know.
Yeah. And we do know also, because of other researchers that have been on the show with us and talked about this, that there is Portuguese Templars. And that's what Corian was talking about in the next couple slides. He was talking about these different places in Portugal where there were Templar strongholds. Now, we know that they went there. Some of them went there. Now, were they there prior to 1307? I think so. I think that's what the research says. But many of them fled there after the 1307, Friday the 13th, 1307. Many of them came here. We think many of them went up to Scotland as well. But here are some of the Templar Tomar. We know Tomar is our friends from over at the Lost Relics of the Knights Templar were in Tomar. And talking about all those places over there. So, yeah, I mean, yes, they've got these different places set up, or they did back in their time. And also, not only that, go ahead.
They basically just reinvented themselves.
Yes.
Right. Exactly. They just created a new brand name and operated under that brand name, just not to be followed and persecuted under the original name.
Right. Yep. Knights of Christ. Yeah. And so they took the Templar cross and they incorporated it into this one. They made it a little bit bigger, a little bit wider and bigger, and then they put a white cross within the center of it for the Portuguese. So was it a matter of reinventing themselves, like Tom just said? Yeah, I think so.
Rebranding.
Rebranding. Yep. The original rebranding.
Yep.
Exactly. Because as we said before, excuse me, as we've said before, they're not going to, even if they did come over to North America, they're not going to come over. Hey, we're the Templars. We're over here now. Come over here and hunt us down. Right. So rebranding. They showed this picture of all these different ships. I didn't realize, and these are all Templar ships. I didn't realize that there was so, we talked about a fleet that they had, and some people said, oh, they borrowed them from Scotland, or they borrowed them from the French, or they borrowed them from, Portugal or whatever, but they did have many of their own.
They had their own fleet. They had their own fleet. Templars had their own fleet.
Yeah, Gretchen has talked about that. Many of the Templar researchers have talked about that. And the maps I find very, very interesting. And he was showing about some of these names of some of the areas on the maps. This one here, and this one here. And this one talks about over here. And this is, well, the last word is Portugal, I believe. Heyday Portugal. I don't know. And he said it on the show. Maybe it's in my notes. I probably should read my synopsis that Jan did, because I'm sure it's probably in here. Let's see. Portuguese items on the island. Yep, we found that. The Templars dissolved in 1312 in every country except Portugal. During the 12th to the 14th century, the Knights Templar acquired treasure. We know that. Possibly contained religious artifacts such as the Holy Grail, the Ark of the Covenant. Corian says the Templars fled from other countries to Portugal to be under the protection of King Denis of Portugal. The king also restarted the group as the Order of Christ in 1319 and changed their logo, which is the crosses that I was showing you. Corian also explains that Knights of Christ made up maps during their journeys at sea and showed the team to the Contino map from 1502. That's what this one here is, the Contino map from 1502, which shows Newfoundland and Nova Scotia. Corian also tells the team that in Portugal, there are many Templar archives that could, where they could research documents connected to Oak Island, for a connection to Oak Island.
Yeah, apparently what he said on the show last night was that that's the one place that, through all of the destruction and rebranding, that the documents did not get destroyed.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. So more to come on the Portuguese connection. And I think that we may have to get somebody. I can't wait till Corian comes on, because I know he's going to be able to really explain this. And I would love to have him come on right now. We just can't. It just doesn't make sense to have him come on yet.
No.
Because he'd be zip-lipped for most of it, and I just can't do that to the man. Yes, he is. He's very knowledgeable. Michelle said he's very knowledgeable. And about all the medieval history. Cindy was asking some great questions, and I had everyone's attention and was listening, including Mr. Rick. Okay. That must have been, was that a personal meeting where you guys saw him someplace there in Nova Scotia? Is that what you're referring to? Because I know you guys met up with quite a few people over there. So interesting. I think that we're definitely going to find out in the coming days just what kind of a real connection that the Portuguese have with Oak Island. This may lead to some really interesting revelations, I think.
That could be a whole other show.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I did like this. There was another picture here. And again, it's kind of hard to read some of these maps, but Nova France, Nova France, New France.
New France.
Yep. New France. And then, yeah, just so much, obviously they were all coming over. And this is a 1502 map, right? You said 1502? Yeah. Yeah, 1502.
The one that had been prepared, because I see they've got the name of Canada up on top of it there. So
yeah. Yep. With two A's.
It's hard to say when it would have been done.
Canada. Oh, Cindy's book signing. Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah. So that's really cool. Now, we got a little, we saw in the preview for next week's show, and I have to show these pictures real quick because this was really cool. Now, they did show us a few snapshots of where they were going to be going when they do go to Portugal. This was one of the places right here, and I did not get these names written down of them.
Put the cross over the gateway.
Yeah. Look at that cross over the gateway. Does that tell you what it was? Yeah. I mean, it looks just like, whoops, sorry. It looks just like that, doesn't it?
Mhm.
Exactly like that. Just not red. So there it is. I mean, that's it right there. So what does that tell you? Not only that, but this other place here, and I don't remember the names of these. I should have wrote them down. I was in a hurry snapping these because they had next time on the Curse of Oak Island. I'm like snapping these pictures. Oh, the church. Thank you. BC St. Jean, the Church of Font Arcada. Font Arcada. I'm probably pronouncing that really badly. I apologize. That, and then, and here's a distant shot of it, of the church here, the chapel, a little bit bigger. That was cool. So I was just snapping these away because I was in a big hurry. Then, of course, came, they were looking at this double tile right here that they were looking at on the wall that Alex is pointing out right here. And you want to get more information about that. That's for Jake Roberts and John Edwards to talk about that stuff. The double tile and the triple tile. And then this little piece right here that everybody's been talking about over just about every group page has been talking about this artifact right here that they showed on the for next week's episode. Now, I think did we ever determine where they found this?
No, I think it's what Marty and Gary dug up on Lot 8, but that's just a guess. In the highlight, in the preview episode, you see them digging something up, and it's going to be an earth-shattering moment or whatever. But that's strictly a guess. I have no idea.
Yeah. Now, a lot of people were talking about what this thing could possibly be. Some people talked a lock mechanism and all this kind of stuff. But and Linda, we were talking about this, of course, us, in our group, we were talking about it today as well. And she came up with this picture right here. Oops, let me zoom that in. All right. Now, this is from a wheel lock from a muzzle load or some kind of a musket ball,
musket or blunderbuss or something,
blunderbuss or a rifle of the times or like that. Some sort of a rifle or a gun of some type from that, a musket from that time frame. Yeah, it looks like an old pistol parts. That's exactly right, Wanda. That's what we said too. And so you got this picture and then this. So you look at this one. I wish I could keep this big, but I can't move the picture until I do. Unless maybe. Yeah, no, it's not going to let me. So look at that and then compare that with this. I mean, you got the flintlock up here, and then you see all these little holes going around here. And what were you saying about this before, Tom? These holes?
Yeah, if you've ever taken a firing mechanism apart on a shotgun or rifle or something like that, the interior mechanism is most commonly held together with pins and not screws. So that when you're working on it, you just have to punch out the pins. You just take a dowel and punch out the pins. And they're very tight fitting to put it back together. So there's no screws in there. And that's what that reminds me of.
Yep.
Where you would just punch the pins out to take that apart so you could repair it.
Yep.
Then you put the pins back in and it holds it together.
Right. Very cool. Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking gun related too. Jenny says that good job, Linda, because and then she pulled this picture out and that ran right there. I mean, you look at it. I mean, you got this spin mechanism, the spring powered wheel here in the middle. You got your pyrite and your flintlock or whatever right here. Yep. Dog head and the pan cover and all that right here. All this,
and they look like pins, not screws.
Yes, just like you said. Yep.
Yep.
Pins, not screws. And then you see the shape of the front here in this round portion. Then it goes off in the back. But you see these little pins holding it together. And then you see this picture here. Pins holding it together. This is where the wheel would have been.
It's pretty similar.
Yeah. I think it's part of a musket or a gun or a rifle or something like that. Now,
And they said there's writing on it.
yeah. Oh my gosh.
If I'm not mistaken.
Oh man, I've missed a lot of this. Sorry guys. Linda's been sending me messages, and again, I got the scroll lock stuck on this thing.
No, she sent you a combined picture.
Oh, okay. Oh my gosh, I've missed so much of what they've sent me. I'm going to be in trouble now. I didn't scroll. I don't know why it's like that. Instead of giving you the newest one each time, it sticks, and then I don't realize I'm getting new messages. All right, let me bring this down. This is great. Thank you, Linda, for doing this. She just put the two together, and I will share those right there. So there you go. Now, this one doesn't show this being right over top. It's over here.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, it could just be a different model.
Yeah, exactly.
The principle looks pretty well the same.
Yep.
Could be a different design from a different year. Maybe one's a pistol, maybe one's a muzzle loader. I mean, who knows, right? But I think the concept is the same.
Yep, I do too. So now the question becomes, is that something that might have spurred their interest in Portugal again? Might this be something that has to do with Portugal? I don't know.
Laird seemed to think so.
Laird seemed to think so, yeah. So, yeah. Oh, okay. I was just scrolling back. I missed so much of what she was telling me. Okay. All right. Cool. All right. So there you go. That's for next week's episode. So we will see what's up with that. And this, I'm really, really interested because, I'm one of those people that I've always wanted to believe that the Portuguese Templars or the Templars had something to do with Oak Island. Were they the original depositors? We don't know. We just don't have the facts to back that up. Some people will tell you absolutely not. The were never in North America. There are those researchers out there that have that opinion based upon research they have done. And I'm not going to stand here and tell them they're wrong. No. Do I want them to be part of it? Do I want the Templars to have something to do with it? I kind of feel they did. Because go ahead. Sorry.
If not the Templars, some version of the Templars, Freemasons, whatever. I mean, these people were not solely involved in one group.
Right.
As time came along, a Freemason could be any member of your community, and that knowledge gets passed down, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, and we knew they were fleeing from France because they were being hunted down and killed and burned at the stake. Malay was burned at the stake. So we know that took place. So they were fleeing, and they didn't find much treasure. So because of all that, where did they go? We know some went to Portugal. We know or speculate that some went to was up there with Henry Sinclair and was up to Scotland. Did they then go from Scotland over to North America? I want to believe they did. I think some of the research that some of the people have found out leads that to be the case, but we don't have the smoking yet. We don't have the definitive answer just yet. So, it becomes one of these things that we got to keep digging until we get an answer. Now the guys are on a lead that's taken them to Portugal. And quite possibly the Portuguese Templars, the Knights of Christ, as they were reinvented over there. Mm-hmm. Corian is on leading. Corian and Judy Rudebush together, I guess they're working together on this, are looking into this and leading this research because of all the research that she has done. And, him working on it as well, putting this together. We'll find out in the coming episodes. We'll find out just what they are coming up with. In the meanwhile,
if nothing else, it's some really cool history.
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly right, Tom, because I learn something every single time. I get more and more information, and it's just made me hungry to get more because it's so fascinating. It truly is. These are things we weren't taught in school, But we will see in the coming episodes. And while this is all going on, B4C, the fifth.
You're going to bring up that. You're going to bring up that model.
That model.
That model of money pit you're talking about earlier.
3D model.
The 3D model you're talking about.
Oh. Let me see if I can find it real quick. All right. Let's see. While I'm searching, you got anything else you can? B4C. What do you think, Tom? The fifth can.
Well, if nothing else, I mean, when they did DMT2, we know they were on the head and shaft.
Yep.
Right. So now we've got a solid reference point. Right. You know, you can get directions now. You know which way you're going. C1 we know is a legitimate target.
Yes.
So let's narrow down or eliminate those spots around C1. And that's what B4C is going to do, at least for me. I mean, they're going to have C1 basically surrounded.
Yeah, I think they should pull the can to C1 and go straight down again.
I know that was at one time. That's what
they're going to
do. But we don't know. They didn't do that, but again,
we don't know.
Yeah. Where is his pictures that he sent me? He sent me a bunch of these things. I've got them.
Or waiting, Dale. How's the fundraiser coming along?
It's dead. There's been nothing for 2 weeks, so I think I might even pause it until the fall. It's just there's nothing happening on it.
It'd probably take more traction then.
I think it's going to go better in the fall.
It's a time thing. Yeah.
Summer's coming and everything like that, and people are out and about, going on trips.
Yeah. And I'll be able to save more money then. So by then, I'll be able to buy more tickets. So
yeah,
we've been at 520 since about 2 weeks now.
Yeah, it's just a time of year, I think.
Oh yeah, not a big rush. It's for Christmas.
Oh, here they are. I found them. Okay. Let's see. I've got to pull them down real quick. Let's see. Download.
Jeff's got like 12 monitors back there with him.
I know. I do. I have 4. 4 big monitors surrounding me here. Yeah, I do. Let's see. Okay, there's one. He sent me a whole bunch of pictures, so bear with me. He did. He sent a whole bunch of them here. I'll do my best to get them up quickly here. Some of them are. I mean, this thing is just elaborate. I mean, it really is. Let's see. And I won't pull all of them down. I'll just show a couple.
I just wondered, did he give you permission to share them on our page?
Oh yeah. Well, he put them up on it. He put a couple of them up on our Facebook page.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of them. Yeah, I just wanted for the total model, so to speak.
Yeah. Okay. Let me start getting a couple up here. Okay. These and they look. Yeah. Well, here we go. Let me just show you here. Okay. So this I know it's really small. I wish he took them with his camera or his phone, so it really makes it kind of hard to see. But these tubes you see coming down here are all the caissons that they put in. And the wood is tunnels that they've put in. All right. Let's see. Let me bring this one up. These are some of this was like the original money pit, Gal 1. And you got a void at 49 to 52 meters. The oscillator on a flat surface, but your wood tunnels here as well. Book binding and parchment and purple wood was found here. The bones. I mean, he's got everything labeled. Pottery, they got pottery down here. This is the stuff in the background is your anhydrite, your bedrock.
Bedrock, yeah.
H8 goes all the way down, and there's your to below 56 meters. And then the pottery, the British pottery from 1780 to 1800. I mean, he's let me see. I know there's.
Is this in his basement, or is this in someplace for people to look at?
It's in his house, as far as I know. Oh, this is a good one. Here, let me show you this. He built this in his house. And here's kind of a wider view of the whole thing. All the wood you see is all the wooden tunnels that were made by the different head and shaft is up here. Collapsed tunnel, the circle shaft, circular shaft, spiral tunnel, Restalls.
The spiral tunnel is really cool.
Yeah, spiral tunnel running around through there. I mean, this thing, and this is all your bedrock around here, and the void bedrock that he was talking about. Remember how I kept saying at 150 feet, they keep stopping, but there are places like C1 where it went down below 150 feet. And that's where you're seeing this right here. And this, so here's one of the Hamilton shaft goes all the way down into it. And then you got this void area here where they are able to dig deeper, or they have been able to dig deeper down here, going down in the middle.
I think Oak Island Tours should buy this off him and put it in the interpretive center.
put it in the museum. I know. It's amazing. The work that went into making this thing.
Have they seen that, I wonder?
I don't know. I don't know.
That's
Oh,
incredible.
look at this one. Look at this one. This is another good one right here. Now this one shows the surface up here. This is I think this is ground level up here, or the water level. I think it's the water level actually, up here on top. And then you see all the shafts, the wooden shafts, and the caissons that have been put down all through here. I mean, it's just amazing. Wow. Can you imagine how long it took him to make this? I mean, it had to be incredibly painstaking to something like that.
Honey, I'm going down the basement for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to figure out the materials to use to make the proper sort of scale representation, right?
Yep. Yeah. And then here's the ones where the caissons hit the bedrock and stopped. That's all these caissons right here. And the wood that they found in the ground, they found inside the caisson. Here's all this wood that they found from collapsed tunnels and stuff. It's just, it's really truly is incredible what he made here. I'm just,
and all done to scale.
Yeah, it's all done to scale.
That's insane.
Incredible. Yeah, it is. And he's on our Facebook page. And he is.
I think someone should contact Oak Island about this.
Rudy Raspel. He is actually over in. Oh, he told me where he was from, but I don't recall at the moment. But he did tell me he's not from the U.S. He's from over across the pond. But yeah, just fascinating work to build this thing. It's really incredible. I mean, and then this one here, he's got it lit up with a backlight. It's really. Yeah, look at that. It's all lit up with a backlight showing it. That's pretty much the whole thing.
That would gain so much attention at the Interpretive Center.
Yep.
That's just unreal.
Yeah, that's unreal that he created this thing. It's really cool. Anyway, fantastic job. And he shared it to us. It's in our face. Now, I don't think he put all these pictures in there in our Facebook group page. But anyway, really cool. The work that he put into this thing. And there are more, but I don't want to. It's already we're already at 2 hours, so I want to call it. But yeah, I'll start I'll get him and tell him he can put these out in our group page here. But this is really
should have him on sometime talking about it.
It's truly fascinating what he's created.
Amazing.
Yeah, all from the data that he's gathered from the show and from his search and stuff. It's just truly amazing.
Incredible.
Anyway, all right, folks, that's pretty much it for me. And guys, any final thoughts on last show or come next week's show? What do you think?
I'm good. I'm looking forward to next week. I want to find out about this Portuguese connection.
Oh, Rudy, Germany. Thank you. Yeah, Linda just reminded me. Yes, he's from Germany. Yep. Rudy Raspel from Germany. But anyway, yeah, that's pretty much wraps it up. Let's see what they find next week. We got the new can going in, B4C. And then, of course, we got Corian. We're going to see a bunch more of Corian and the interesting stuff that they're going to find out over in Portugal and the Portuguese connection. So good stuff coming. I think we're going to have a cliffhanger. What do you think, Dale?
I think so. You called it.
It's coming.
It's coming. We're going to have a cliffhanger taking us into season 10, are we not? All right. Hey, guys, again, nothing going on this weekend. We will see you back here on Wednesday night, next week, Wednesday night, for Follow the Cobblestone Road. And then on the 23rd, Laird Niven, with Tom and I will be hosting Laird Niven. We're going to have a good afternoon with him for a couple hours at 2 o'clock Eastern. And then the following Saturday, we've got Ian Spooner and Steve Guptill and maybe one other person. We're trying to talk him into it. We're still working on that. But I don't want to mention his name yet in case we, and also Scott Clark is coming on the 28th. That's a Thursday. We do our guest shows on Saturdays, but Scott he's a lot on the. So Scott Clark, was just on Curse of Oak a couple times, and so he's going to be joining us on the 28th, Thursday, the 28th. I think we're doing that at might be 7 o'clock. We'll let you know. We'll get that. It might already be a Facebook group that Linda puts out and lets everybody know about. So there you go. So we got a lot of shows coming up, and we are looking forward to those. Just going to check and see. Okay. Okay. A link. She needs a link. All right, I'll get you a link. All right, 7:30. Oh, it's at 7:30. Okay, thank you. 7:30 on the 28th for Scott Clark. All right, and I think I'm not sure who's co-hosting with me on that one just yet. But anyway, thanks folks for being here tonight. Really appreciate you all. And again, thanks Tom and Dale for being here and co-hosting with me.
Have a good Easter, everyone.
Pardon me?
Yeah, happy Easter.
Yes,
happy Easter.
Happy Easter to everyone.
Easter Bunny finds everybody.
Yep, me too. That's great. Y'all have a great holiday weekend. We'll see you right here next time on the Curse of Oak Island and Beyond live stream. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Night.